Remember the 90s TV boom? Not every show was a hit. Behind the success of iconic series, there were some epic disasters that crashed and burned almost instantly. These shows promised big stars, bold ideas, and groundbreaking entertainment. But instead, they vanished into obscurity, leaving behind baffled producers and disappointed audiences. Today, we're diving into 5 forgotten TV shows in 1990 that were huge flops. Number 5. Sugar and Spice.
Sugar and spice, that's what we'll always be.
In the early 1990s, TV networks were desperate to create the next big sitcom hit, and one of the boldest attempts was Sugar and Spice. Marketed as a quirky, feel-good comedy about 2 mismatched sisters trying to run a bakery together, it had all the right ingredients on paper. A talented cast, colorful sets, and a sweet-meat sassy dynamic that was supposed to capture family audiences. But instead of serving up laughs, the show crumbled faster than a stale cookie. Premiering with high expectations, Sugar and Spice was pushed as the next big thing, even receiving prime advertising spots and glowing previews. Yet, viewers quickly discovered that the charm was missing. Jokes often fell flat. Storylines were repetitive, and critics panned the show for being overly sugary without real substance. By the 3rd episode, ratings had already taken a nosedive. What makes Sugar and Spice fascinating today is how it represents the risks networks took in the 1990s, when one flop could disappear almost overnight. For many, it's a forgotten relic of a time when TV was experimenting with family-friendly comedies that never quite clicked. While the show only lasted a handful of episodes, its spectacular failure has cemented Sugar and Spice as one of the most infamous forgotten TV flops of the decade. Number 4. The Flash.
Prepare for Stan Kovacs. You take your toys and go home.
What? Mitch, you can't just...
Oh, yes, I can.
In 1990, The Flash zoomed onto television screens with high hopes of becoming the next big superhero sensation. But instead, it crashed faster than a lightning bolt. Starring John Wesley Shipp as Barry Allen, the series attempted to blend dark, gritty tones with comic book fun, arriving during a time when superhero shows were still struggling to find their footing. With an enormous budget for the era and groundbreaking special effects, expectations were sky high. Unfortunately, its inconsistent tone, costly production, and a time slot competing with major TV juggernauts doomed it from the start. Despite its flashy visuals and a charismatic lead, the show lasted only 1 season with 22 episodes, leaving fans wanting more. Over the years, it gained a cult following, largely thanks to nostalgia and its influence on modern superhero television. Looking back, The Flash was an ambitious misfire, proof that even super speed couldn't outrun bad timing. Today, it's remembered as one of the most fascinating TV flops of the 90s. Number 3. She-Wolf of London. She-Wolf of London was one of the strangest and most ambitious TV experiments of the early 90s, a mix of horror, humor, and romance that promised to reinvent werewolf lore for a new generation. Premiering in 1990, the show followed grad student Randy Wallace, who becomes a werewolf after being bitten during a research trip, with her professor-turned-sidekick Ian Matheson. She navigates life in London while battling supernatural threats and her own beastly curse. The concept sounded like a cult hit in the making, but poor production values, awkward tonal shifts, and inconsistent writing left viewers scratching their heads. Was it horror? Comedy? Mystery? Unfortunately, it was all and none of those things at once. After just 1 season and a major mid-series retooling, She-Wolf of London quietly vanished from NBC's late-night lineup, leaving only a handful of fans howling for more. Today, it stands as a fascinating relic of TV's risk-taking era, a show that dared to be different but couldn't quite find its identity. Forgotten by many, it remains a prime example of why ambition alone isn't enough to keep a series alive. Number 2. The Family Man. The Family Man is one of those forgotten gems from the early 90s that promised wholesome family entertainment but ended up being a major flop. Premiering in 1990 on CBS, this sitcom centered on Jack Taylor, a widowed fire chief raising 5 kids while navigating the chaos of single parenthood. On paper, it had all the ingredients for success: a heartwarming premise, family-friendly humor, and relatable struggles. Unfortunately, it never found its footing in the crowded TV landscape. Competing against heavyweights like Full House and Family Matters, the show failed to capture the same magic or audience loyalty. Critics described it as predictable and lacking the charm viewers craved. Despite its attempt to balance comedy with touching family moments, the execution fell flat, leading to its cancellation after just 1 season. Today, The Family Man stands as a fascinating reminder that even shows with good intentions and decent casts can completely miss the mark. Forgotten by most, it remains a curious relic of an era when networks churn out family sitcoms in hopes of striking gold, but sometimes struck out instead. Number 1, True Blue.
Blue will send in an expert.
How is this? Blue woke up?
Your dog will get the chance to sniff out a sniveling snake.
In 1990, NBC introduced True Blue, a gritty police drama set in New York City that promised high-stakes action and emotional depth. Following the elite emergency services unit, the show combined the intensity of tactical rescues with the personal struggles of officers on the front lines. Packed with dramatic hostage situations, daring high-rise rescues, and explosive confrontations, True Blue was positioned as the next big cop series. Yet, despite its big-budget production and strong cast, the show quickly fizzled. Viewers found the tone uneven, struggling to connect with the characters' rushed backstories and overly familiar plot lines in a market already saturated with police dramas. Airing against stiff competition, True Blue failed to capture the audience it needed, leading NBC to pull the plug after just 12 episodes. Today, it stands as a fascinating relic of early 90s television, a bold concept that never quite lived up to its hype. Forgotten by most but remembered by a few die-hard fans, True Blue remains a cautionary tale of how even well-promoted series can vanish almost overnight. Curious what went wrong? Let's dive into why this ambitious show became one of the decade's biggest flops. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel for latest updates about the vintage videos.